11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Wednesday edition of our Daily Gun Show, where we go live and take a look at the Instagram. If anybody's out there, give me some feedback if the audio is working. We have been known to have audio issues. Our co-host and podcast engineer is lazy. He doesn't do anything. So we're often not running with audio at the beginning of the show. He's over here napping right now. So on Wednesdays, we head over to Instagrams and take a look at what's been going on over there. And last week, we didn't get over there. We're doing some other stuff. So we got a couple of weeks worth of stuff to look at potentially. Got some feedback on Unapologetically Armed. Thank you very much. Let's see. I don't need my screen on here today. We got no puppy. I guess I could put the puppy on. Puppy's looking sad over here. I'll put the puppy on, but he's looking sad over here. He hasn't been driving around lately. He wants to drive around or something, probably. I got some kind of message over here, so I'm going to go check out that message real quick. See if there's anything good. Right on. And we're back. So, what movie is that? I do not know. All right, so we're going over to our channel, and then we're going to click into our saved folder over here. Inside of our saved folder, we just take a look at the stuff we've been looking at over the last while. Or I guess not the stuff we've been looking at as much as the stuff that we've saved from the stuff we're looking at. Get the puppy to be level. Does that work? Go back to sleeping, puppy. Sheefire's joining us. Hey, Sheefires, I should have contacted you earlier, but a friend of ours, I'm not sure if you know him or not, but Bullets for Bucks is going to be out your way. He wanted to see if there was a way to maybe get out to the range or something, if it's possible. He's never, I don't know if he's visiting Florida or if he's, I don't know what the deal is, but I know he's going to be out there. Let's see. So I'm going through the stuff that I've been looking at over here and saving. And I suppose I'm not good at dates, so let's go figure out. It's been 2 weeks, so we're going to go back to the 6th. To the 6th. So, how far back is the 6th? Let's try this. 8th. So, we still got a ways to go. Alright, so I guess we haven't done this show in a while. Wow, it has been a while. I think we talked about Ruth or Sandra Day O'Connor being passing away. That was on the 1st, so we'll just start there and start going through. Let's see. This camera. So we got the SR-71 over here. Let me see. Why am I moving this like this? We should move this over here and then over here. I've been checking out Cape Gunworks to see if they've got something scheduled to go live, so they might be taking the week off. Normally I would do this show in kind of a warm-up for their show, so we might have some time today if they're not going to go live. What was this all about? So SR-71's awesome airplane. If you like airplanes, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then you probably don't care about that airplane. Rogue Banshee saying about how it's sad to see what's he saying? I'm sad to see this happen to such a historic site. I also feel for the workers out of a job, but New York is an anti-gun state. Surprised that it took this long. Gun operation, gun factory in operation for nearly 200 years, set to close. And pretty good picture of the Remington factory. Must be a stock photo because I don't think he lives near there. This is kind of a local thing, but in case someone happens to be around Tucson or visiting over here, the Wild Bunch Film Festival is a film club for people like Westerns. I don't know if they have to be filmed out here or not, but there have been quite a few Westerns filmed in southern Arizona. So I know a lot of people are fans of those across the whole world. So these are international things. So it says the 9th Annual International Wild Bunch Film Festival is taking place, and it's expanded to 5 days. So now it's taking place October 23rd to the 27th of next year. Really dig that they're getting the word out now so people can start planning for it, especially since it's a big event and it's such a long event. People can make plans for it. When I first moved out here a long time ago, there were week-long cowboy shooting events. There were week-long rodeos. There's probably still rodeos. There were week-long cowboy shows, which are kind of like gun shows, but they're cowboy shows. It's way better. There's guns and stuff there, but it's all lever action guns. But then there's all this cookware and stuff, and there's all these cowboy clothes, and it's like stuff that it's not really a rendezvous, but it's kind of like if you took a rendezvous and a gun show and squished them together, and then maybe a crafts fair, maybe a little bit of a county fair, maybe a little bit of that in there, but no contests that I remember. But anyway, we used to have cowboy shows, and those were pretty awesome. Actually, those happened right around SHOT Show out here. But anyway, so this is an organization that kind of keeps that thread going, and I think this is so that films can be in the festival. Like films can nominate themselves or submit their films to the festival. And then people sit around watching films for 5 days, I guess. This is from Rocky Mountain Gun Owners, and it says, bring your unwanted firearms. Blah, blah, blah. Saturday, December 9th. So I guess it already happened. No reservation needed. Just come to the parking lot and voluntarily surrender your firearm. Arrive with your unloaded guns in the trunk. Remain in your vehicle. Skilled personnel will remove your guns. Volunteers use a metal chop saw to dismantle your guns. Leftover metal parts are transformed into garden tools, jewelry, or art. You remain anonymous. No ammunition accepted. Handmade guns will be accepted and destroyed, but not compensated for. So let's read what Rocky Mountain Gun Owners is talking about here. If the government uses your tax money to buy back the gun you purchased, is it a confiscation? Let's see if the minimum 3-day waiting period applies to those taking those guns. So this is crazy weird on so many levels. So first off, it says $50 for your long gun or shotgun, $150 for your handgun or semi-automatic, and $250 for your assault tactical gun in the form of grocery store gift cards while supplies last. So right off the bat, they tell you they won't accept handmade guns. So that's interesting. If handmade guns are so dangerous, how come they're not compensating for them? But I don't know. Doesn't say, well, it says who's sponsoring it. A bunch of organizations, civic organizations, I'd say. They don't look like they're church organizations, so I don't think they're religious. I think they're just civic organizations. But who is the money behind them? You know, who's the creator of these organizations? What's their goals? You'd have to research 7 different organizations to find that out. Is it possible that one entity is responsible for more than one of these? Oh, sure, often, because it's expensive. It's more cost effective to have multiple organizations than it is to have one, as far as I understand it, for creating, diverting funds to a group, because now you can have multiple organizations, and that's a help because it makes it look like there's more interest than there might be if it was just one giant organization. And then it also lets you, do different things, different strategies with those organizations. So somebody, no one's going to research that or anything, or maybe somebody will. But it says that you're going to arrive and they're just going to take the guns out of the back of your car. That's a lot of trust, I guess. And then they're going to chop them. So that's interesting because, if you do that in the wrong order, you're a felon. And like they said, is there a waiting period in Colorado? So anyway, gun buybacks are stupid. We've banned them here in Arizona. Can't have them. We made a law against them. So curious to see how this thing happened. The prices are ridiculous. $50 for a long gun or shotgun. I mean, it's possible to buy a gun that cheaply, but it would be a garbage broken gun, a gun that you might be able to bring back to life, but more than likely a rusted shut decoration, if anything. Not even maybe for parts, but by the time you buy a $50 gun in 2023, it's probably not even good for parts. $150 for a semi-auto. So you can buy guns for $150 that are garbage that will beat up or neglected or worn out or something. Maybe some parts in that kind of gun. $250 for a rifle, assault rifle, or whatever they're saying. That is, well, they say assault/tactical gun. So that's a dumb way to describe them. But again, it's a dumb price. So it's annoying, and we should be aware of them. But barking dogs, right? I'm saying hey to people, so Unapologetically Arms, first one to jump. Well, Mike White was first one to jump in, but I screwed around and didn't put the time right. Sorry about that. Unapologetically Arms joining us, though. She Fires out there. Welcome again. And CNT joining in. How's the puppies? They're doing good. This one's over here sleeping, not doing anything. And Mallow doesn't do anything except sleep. All she ever does is sleep. She'll wake up long enough to eat, and then she'll wake up long enough to go outside, and then she'll wake up long enough to go back to sleep. So this is from Gunculture 2.0. Professor Yamane saying, wrapped up 9 years of sociology of guns yesterday with a celebration of learning in which students gave previews of the class projects. Already thinking about how to make the 10th anniversary edition in fall 2024 bad. That is bigger and deafer for LLG Cool J fans of a certain age. So I guess they have cake at school now. Hope there's no glutens in there. This is from Triggerology. Looks like he proposed to his longtime girlfriend. Or maybe they were already married, and I think that's the thing. He was already married and then was able to do this other proposal just to make it, to do it. Pretty cool, posting about it. Rebecca has a bunch of cool ones this show. So the first one here is freedom never happens by accident. It takes effort, engagement, and eternal vigilance. It is fought for and won on purpose and for a purpose. Freedom is your responsibility. It is your birthright. It is your legacy. It is who you are. Freedom is worth the work, the sacrifice, and the relentless pursuit. Freedom is a choice that you make every day. Good sentiment, right? It says over here on the side, when recently asked to talk about freedom, these are the few points I wanted to make sure I shared. Freedom carries a cost, a high cost, a ceaseless, relentless cost. Freedom is not free, nor is it won by accident or kept with apathy. It is the responsibility of each individual to cultivate and maintain. What are you doing to actively pursue freedom? What are you learning, teaching, practicing, or providing to ensure that you have as much or more freedom tomorrow as you do today? What does freedom mean to you, and what are you willing to invest in order to live in that freedom? Freedom is a choice you make every day. It's good sentiments. It's hard to, get people enthusiastic. I'd say maybe make this like 4 posts, just over the span of a couple of days, because those are all good points, but it's just too much at once, I think. Then we got TN Outdoors 9. I don't know how many people remember TN Outdoors 9 out there, if anyone. But back in the olden days, he was, for a minute there, I think you could safely say he was the largest ammunition channel. I don't know. Somebody could tell me if I'm remembering it wrong. But a friend of Artisan Tony, and he would hang out with Artisan Tony quite a bit. So this episode wraps around the invasion of Pearl Harbor. Back in the day, everybody would say, like, remember Pearl Harbor and stuff like that. Kind of like remember the Alamo. It's cool to remember stuff and hate people. And now we remember 9/11. But I'm noticing that in 2023, I saw that there was quite a few alternative remembrances for more than, and even in Pearl Harbor, there was a really cool thing, a combat story we'll talk about. But there's quite a bit of back and forth across the wars. So people letting it all go and appreciating what we've accomplished since. Mike White is saying it's really sad when they destroy a historic firearm. That part's pretty. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. When somebody who doesn't care or know what they have and they show up at a buyback and it gets destroyed like that, that's pretty heinous. Every buybacks are bullshit, so everybody makes up their own buybacks if they want to have one. A lot of them are done by churches, sometimes by police departments, and usually that's it. Usually churches or police departments do it. When police departments do it, at least in my experience, they will take them and melt them because they already have the facilities to melt crime guns and whatever they do with guns, drugs and stuff. They have a big incinerator they put everything in, or they pay somebody to do it, I guess, probably. So they'll just destroy them, or they destroy them through their normal means. If they live close enough to Oregon, they have Benchmade do it. But churches, who knows what they're going to do? Like, seriously, who knows what a church is going to do to destroy them? So I have seen places where they say, okay, we're going to take them, no questions asked. Okay, so now criminals can go dump off their crime guns with no questions asked. They can say, hey, somebody, you owe me big time for whatever, drugs, or because you owe you, whatever reason I got leverage on you as a bad guy. So why don't you take all these guns in and give them to the buyback? Now that person brings all those guns in, gives them the buyback. All those crime guns just get destroyed. Who wins there? How's that helping any of those victims? Any of them. It's ridiculous. I forgot about those points, so thanks for bringing that up. And when they destroy historic, I guess I was going to say, so sometimes I have seen it where they'll do the buybacks and they'll say there's no whatever, they're not going to care, and they let the person leave, which is kind of not their they're not their duty, really, right? But anyway, they let people leave, and then they'll do a background check on the guns. They'll do some kind of search on the guns to find out if they have been used in crime. And I don't know what good that does them. So it's basically just a waste of money, just a reason to explain why they have a database or whatever, or why they have the ability to use a database like that. But what's it going to do? They just took the gun anonymously. Now they have a piece of evidence. Okay, well, what did that do for them? Anyway, so I think that's one thing, that sometimes they'll take the guns and run them through for criminal checks, and then for being stolen, that kind of thing. But then I've also heard of buybacks where somebody will go through and determine if there's value, so that they don't destroy things of value or of historic importance. But I mean, how often does that happen? If there's 10 buybacks, probably only happens, once, if that. Let's assume, because they hate guns. What do they care about keeping good guns around? What is this? Oh, it's pretty good. So this is from Ed's Manifesto. I probably can't play the audio. No. So this is the border, part of the border fence. Sometimes the border fence looks different, but a lot of places it just looks like this, and it's made out of metal, and it's filled with concrete, so you can't just drive something through it. But it's just made out of metal, and it lives out in the middle of nowhere, so people have the ability to go up and mess with it, and they do. So in this case, they cut a notch in it that they can kind of slide up and down. And now, whenever they feel like it, because they can look, you can just pop your head through there and see if there's a border patrol on our side. And if there's not, then they just pop through and roll instead of walking, because if you walk, you leave footprints, right? So if you roll like that, pretty interesting. But if that worked, it would work. But in reality, we have equipment. One, they have ground radar in pretty much the entire border at this point. All the places like this where people travel, though. And then they can tell by the compression. So they'll go by and rake that area all the time. So they'll tell, it doesn't have to be footprints. They'll be able to tell if a snake crossed across there. But anyway, it doesn't really do much good to know that a snake went across there when there's something like 5,000 people crossing a day. We'll hear about that in a bit. But just in case you thought that everybody walks across the border, they're not dumb. They're getting across the border for years. This isn't the only border in the world. Let's see what Gun Owners America has to say.
ATF's comment site. Now, I'm sorry about the Fed takeover, guys. I'm glad you guys told Sen Banderson to go stick his rule where the sun...
Yeah, we got too much to talk about. I'm not going to waste my time watching their little jokey thing. So instead of getting people riled up about the thing, they spent like at least a quarter of their effort making jokes about it. So comment period, we got creamed. So all the ladies out there, that's what it's like to get kicked in the nuts. And all the dudes out there, that's what it's like to get punched in the boob. So that's what happened. We got punched where we shouldn't have been punched for just sitting there watching the comment period happen. This is a son of a bitch in Colorado, I think, who I'm sure at this point has way more bandits than me, but has better bandits than me too. I mean, I don't even try to collect anymore. I've sold a bunch of my good stuff, but it's always cool to see people who collect something that you used to collect, or at least I find it interesting for people that still are interested in something I used to collect. Just to know that there's still people out there cherishing the search, or appreciating the discovery of this stuff. AK bandits are super fun to collect, by the way. Let's see. So this is one of the organizations I followed that matches up dogs and people. Veterans and dogs, I think. Sierra Delta Dogs. Says, did you know only 1 in 150 veterans are getting the care they need? Your dollars in support of this community directly help fund training grants for veterans and their dogs, strengthening their bond and improving their overall well-being. Let us show you who we are. Link in the bio. So, you think about it. So there's probably some people out there that have gone through some shit or whatever, just having a bad time. And you get a little puppy like this. They're known to help people out. Not me. This dog doesn't help me very much because he's not a very good co-host, really. He stinks and whatever. He eats a lot of food. But other people enjoy their animals. And if you start enjoying your animal, then you're having a better time in life. And now you're having a more optimistic view. I really like the idea of matching up critters with people. Plus, otherwise those critters are sad. So, win-win. I think I can play this. It's just noises and rain. I don't know if anybody's ever shot in one of these immersive things. They got to be pretty awesome by now. I can remember walking into a room like this in SHOT Show, 2012 maybe, like a long time ago, and it was pretty radical. Like, it was pretty neat, and it was a little bit lamer than this, but it was pretty close to what we just seen right there, except it wasn't zombies. It was just a regular environment with some bad stuff happening, but normal crime stuff, not zombie apocalypse. But the guns were totally different. The guns were much more crude, and the laser systems were more big, essentially complicated. But nowadays, with imagine the thing from the video games, the little sensors that watch you and know where your guns are pointing. This stuff is pretty neat. I don't know how many people incorporate virtual training into their training, if it's accepted now or if it's not accepted. I suspect people who've never experienced it would tend to not appreciate it or think it's necessary. People that sell it probably can't wait to tell you how important it is. And people who've enjoyed it probably would sing its praises. I haven't met too many people that have done this kind of thing that say it's worthless, but I'm not going to go so far as to say it's necessary or anything. It is pretty interesting, though. And I think it's like a lot of opportunities that can show you where your weaknesses are, because none of us are superheroes, and knowing where our glitches are, what we can't do it, and getting a chance to find that, explore that, is pretty neat. Playing games like this, I suppose, is fun, but I think the idea of it as a training thing is unique. There was one back in the day where you would take pictures and video of your environments. So your hallways, your parking lots, your place of business, your yoga academy, and then that way you could do these scenarios in your backgrounds. And I imagine they must have overlaid the bad guys on top of it, because I really don't remember how they did bad guys. Unapologetically, Artisan really likes the simulator training. I know that a lot of gun shops, especially shops that couldn't or wouldn't, weren't able to have ranges, opted into having those. And it was sort of a fad there for a minute, but not like a laser tag type of thing, because it actually can be pretty useful for instruction. Saying our Armed Women of America has done a few shoot, don't shoot classes. Right, like the Hogan's Alley or whatever it was called. Those things I think would be super beneficial, even if it isn't like 100%, realistic to everything. You can still, determine when you need to draw, and then draw, and be able to find out if you had enough time to do it. Like even if it isn't 100% accurate with everything, I think that kind of stuff can be super super eye-opening. So this is a good one. Women for Gun Rights. I don't know who does their like marketing or whatever you call this, artwork and stuff, or if it's a collaborative thing. But more often than not, they really knock it out of the park with the graphics and stuff. So in this case, I don't know if this is just a template or what, but it just says 2A truths: gun save lives, gun laws equals less violence. Gun laws don't equal less violence. Actually, that could be a lot more clear. Red flag laws put you at risk. Gun-free zones kill. That's easy to hear. Easy to understand, I guess. Waiting periods are dangerous. So I like the messaging, and I like the way they did it. I guess they could have done that second one a lot better, because it almost makes it look like it says gun laws equal less violence, and that's anti what their everybody's position. But pretty neat, and I like that. It's sort of a GIF, I guess. I don't know. I think it's just a GIF with the bullet points kind of fading into the screen. If you happen to be watching this and wonder why I'm saying everything that's on the screen, or I'm describing everything, it's because most of the time this is a podcast.
Are you prepared for this holiday season?
Most of the people are listening to this as a podcast, so just so that otherwise I'm like, look at this. Wow, what do you think of this? And then the podcast would be pretty boring.
And all its family debates around the dinner.
All right, so we're going to go back to Gun Owners of America's attempt to offer Second Amendment folks, gun owners, Second Amendment folks and gun owners, because there's two different things, some resources for the family gatherings.
Are you prepared for this holiday season and all its family debates around the dinner table? Let's prep for those common gun myths so you'll be ready for those crazy libs. Aunt Karen says that red flag laws are common sense gun control that everyone should agree with. Explain to her that red flag laws are a he said she said game with no due process, meaning that regardless of legitimacy, anyone can claim that an individual is a threat to themselves or others, and the police can show up with no warrant and confiscate their weapons. Remind her that this is also a Fourth Amendment issue. You might also consider gifting her a pocket constitution for Christmas. Join me next week to shoot down more gun myths. I'm Courtney with 2A Defenders, and this is Shots Fired.
What garbage. This is Gun Owners of America? Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, it's great if you've never been you're brand new to guns. Like you just got a gun yesterday and you just realized there's a political issue going on. This is like freshman year rhetoric, freshman year, let's keep the fight going because we don't know how to end the fight. But no, this is bad news on top of bad news right here. So I'm looking for that comment from whoever's saying they made a comment over here. I get a lot of comments, so I don't know how long ago you left that comment, but I'm scrolling down through. So if you want to leave the comment over here again, I get a lot of comments, dude. So I'm scrolling through. Like, I don't see your comment. Like, I'm looking and I'm way down. So I don't see your comment in there. But I'm going to unheart this one because I'm disappointed. I don't get paid by none of these organizations, so I'm willing to call them out when they're wasting everybody's time. But here, let's dissect this one since I got some time, I think, today. Here, it'll start again.
Are you prepared for this holiday season and all its family debates?
That sounds awesome. Like Women for Gun Rights did a great post, an actual post, like a useful post on how to have how to approach a conversation with somebody who's anti, to not just if I want to be a dick, but like I want to end this already. I want to educate these people so that they leave me alone. They leave my rights alone. Let's get that accomplished. But no, here, that's how they started.
The dinner table, let's prep for those common gun myths so you'll be ready for those crazy libs.
Crazy fucking libs. You know what? Fuck that. So number one, if we keep calling everybody fucking crazy, how are we helping mental health awareness there? See how that's a contradiction? It's a contradiction. So you can say everybody's crazy all the time, or you can move on past that. There's all kinds of words. There's like a whole freaking list of words that we as a community, as a culture, as a society have decided to move on and quit using because they're derogatory, because they cause division and rift, they cause confusion, they're used inappropriately. Well, let's stop using crazy. It's tough. I use it still because it's not that big a deal, but we're trying to get stuff accomplished here. Calling your crazy lib aunt a crazy lib, how is that helping? So this is just an entertaining little sarcastic nothing here, Guns for America. This didn't help nothing. Let's keep going. Oh, crazy lib, so liberal. So we're supposed to not realize the liberals have been in the game since the beginning. You think Alan Gottlieb was a staunch Republican? Come on. When he made Second Amendment Foundation?
Aunt Karen says that red flag laws are common sense gun control that everyone should agree with. Explain to her that red flag...
All right, so red flag laws, super critical.
Laws are a he said, she said game with no due process, meaning that...
My rights!
Regardless of legitimacy, anyone can claim that an individual is a threat to themselves or others.
My rights!
And the police can show up with no warrant and confiscate their weapons.
My property! So that's bullshit. Let's get on past this my rights, my property childish shit. They already think you're children because you want to own something that's a vice. They think that guns are bad and violent and you want to own them, so you're wrong. And now you're saying, but no, I'm protected by a right and it's my property. So that you might as well be a kid yelling for your candy. So if you want to move on past that and not look like a kid shouting for their candy, give them something to actually think about. And thanks, Guns America, for not giving us that in your little post here. Now, I don't know what happened here, but there's no comments at all. So maybe that tells you how many people thought this was worthwhile. I mean, they're only the third largest organization, depending on if you want to count like membership or how much money they bring in each year. Let's keep moving on. This one is from Firearms Policy Coalition. What happened to my audio? I guess there's no audio. Young people will defeat the gun lobby. So, and then it's, what is this supposed to be? Is that supposed to be Eddie Murphy's brother? But from, or it is Eddie Murphy's brother, but it's from, what's that dude's show? It's from that, I don't know. But so essentially it's some meme that I don't even get. I guess they're just laughing though. I don't know. What is this? I'm just putting it up here. You say I didn't like it. I'm going to uncheck it. Seriously, this is our 5th largest organization. Again, we're going into the holidays. We're going into, we just got our asses kicked with the comment period. But yeah, let's just make stupid ass posts. There is a gentle peace that surrounds you and your faith becomes stronger than your fear. That's pretty interesting. Since Beth wrote this one, I think a few days before she testified before Congress at a congressional testimonial thing to represent, along with 3 other ladies, the current state of gun owners in the United States. I can't imagine what it's like to tell your kids and your family, hey, I'm going to take a bunch of money and leave, and then go to Washington, D.C. and try to figure out what that's like, and then get to wherever you have to go. I doubt that she had some kind of like NRA-sponsored ushers that pick them up at the airport and put them in a fancy limo and drop them off right at the gate with a red carpet pointing right to the room where they have to sit down and have like a quick iced tea before they state their testimony, before they get whisked away into a kind of a tour of DC, before they get taken to a nice dinner and sent home. I don't think it's like that. So it could be, right? We can set other people up like that. Trust me, there's YouTubers living that life. Let's see. So now we got Women for Gun Rights. 4 basic rules of firearm safety. You don't have to read them to you. They just have them listed here. I don't know. I guess it's the holidays. It's a good time to do it. It's a gentle reminder, as much, less of a nag. I find this to be less of a nag than some of the NSSF stuff that gets put out. Always remember the 4 rules of gun safety. All aspects of responsible gun ownership builds upon these 4 rules. The 4 rules are a perfect way to introduce anyone to safety education. Again, I don't know, nice post. I don't know if it was 4 or something. Oh, it's from the Chappelle Show. Thanks. Yeah, I couldn't think of his name. I think that's what happens when you try to do a show with talking the whole dang time. I gotta drink some more water here. Where'd I put it? I think I don't even have any water, actually. I started this show without water. So what that means is I tried to get the co-host a tap dance so that you could be entertained with a tap dance. So instead, we'll have to settle for, I think we can settle for some karate chopping. I should use that for an intermission more often. That was his karate exposition that he was trying out for the Karate Kid one time. How do we get back to my comments? There we go. All right, so this one is from somebody I follow out there. I'm telling you, there's nothing worse than being stuffed with candy and hung on a mantle. And that's a Christmas stocking talking to a piñata. And the piñata's looking at it with some kind of a stare, a distant stare. Let's just say a distant stare. I think everybody knows what's going on here, but I thought that one's pretty good. I haven't seen that one before. I'm pretty old, so I think that's a new one. Co-host has completely lost interest at this point. So this is interesting. The Connecticut Gun Community Photo Contest. Take pics, submit by December 24th. Get featured by CCDL, the Connecticut Citizens Defense League. Win free CCDL swag. So that's pretty cool, right? It says over here, an announcement as announced at the rally at the Capitol 2023, CCDL is developing a new firearms course to meet the new qualifiers for the Connecticut. I got the hiccups. Connecticut pistol permit process. Given the vast community of over 400,000 gun owners in the state of Connecticut, we want to give you an opportunity to be showcased in our content. We're looking to compile photos for reference in our course, various firearms, firing positions, and the like to display safe firearms handling and mechanics. The chosen entries will be awarded with free CDL swag and credits for the photographs in the course. All the details are on the website. So how cool is that? Like, they're going to be doing a project, and they're offering a way for the membership to do something different and have fun with this, creation of the content. Normally, if you're creating content, that's a burden. You have to go out and create the content, figure it all out and everything. This is cool. This is like super creative thinking and working outside the box there, getting it done, and community involvement. It's like win, win, win. I don't know about the time frame on it. It's pretty quick, but I don't know how much time they had to, get ready for it. But I wish everybody did this. So I don't know if you still got time if you're in Connecticut. Take advantage of that. I see Street Fires dropped a $10 super chat. What? Let me grab my super chat biscuits. We have a set of Super Check biscuits that they weren't supplied by Gizzard, but they're made out of 100% Gizzard pieces. And Puppy knows what's up. He likes these shows sometimes. Sometimes he could care less about the shows, and then sometimes he's a big fan of this show. So if I can get one of these out of here. I would give him vegan biscuits, but everyone would have a fit if I gave my dog a vegan biscuit. So we'll give him one Gizzard biscuit for the 9 part. And then this is for the 90 part. And then this one here can be for the 9 cents at the end. Just the remainder 9 cents. Pretty soon he's going to be big and strong from eating all these biscuits. One day he won't be a puppy anymore. But he's still a baby. Put him down in the corner. Thanks so much for the super chat, though. Appreciate it. That goes into the fund, like our Patreon list here at the bottom. We say thanks to our Patreons and all of our shows. We don't have ads and stuff. We're going to try to get some sponsors here maybe next year. But we're really just trying to keep our servers online, keep the servers paid for, keep the websites online, keeping the servers paid for. And every once in a while, some extra software to be able to help do this kind of stuff. So we do appreciate the people that help make that possible. And then the super chats are a big part of that. Thank you. Gizzard is missing a few fingers and toes. I don't want to think about how Gizzard makes those things. I don't know. I just know that they're made out of Gizzard. So that's only Gizzard in them. I just don't know how Gizzard gets them made. That's between him and the bag factory, the Giblet factory. Let's see. So let's get past the Connecticut one. I don't know how many people live in Connecticut out there. I don't know what this is all about, but maybe it's a girl thing. Says Rebecca, says, be exactly who you are, how you are, where you are. You are here not to fit anyone else's opinion of who you should be. Do what you love and love what you do. Dear ladies, you can be both. So I guess you can go outside and be inside. You're welcome. This is 2023. You're allowed to be inside and outside, ladies. And then we got Green Bray Foundation with this laser cut ornament. Join the Green Bray Foundation's 12 Days of Giving as we spotlight incredible partners and businesses. We get down here, and somewhere in here it decides how much they will raise on Giving Tuesday. We have Kalashnikon, one of the events that happens. I don't know. Are they the evolution of the gun show? Maybe. They're definitely the evolution of Media Day at the Range. In 2005, they started bringing people out officially to SHOT Show the day before SHOT Show and having vendors and manufacturers come out and let us pull triggers. So that started in like 2005. And, there'd been shoots and stuff associated with SHOT Show, but they were always private and never part of it. So as soon as that kind of hit the world and people started to figure out that was a thing, I think that sparked some interest. And by about 2013, I'd say, there was a bunch of them happening. There was some bullpup shoots, a couple of different Kalashnikov shoots, and maybe 3 or 4 of those happening off and on. So Kalashnikon is in its 8th year. This one is in Missouri. And essentially, it's kind of like a gun show, kind of like a shooting competition, kind of like a cosplay event, kind of like just a get together, like a social event. I really think it's interesting. Helps normalize guns. Helps get more people interested in different aspects of guns. CCW is great. Hunting is great. You're allowed to do both. You can do other things. You could do neither and still be a gun person. So we got Gabrielle Hoffman from she's the director for Energy and Conservation at Independent Women's Forum. Okay, I thought she was something else. So maybe she switched jobs. Maybe that's why she's on. She hosts the District of Conversation podcast and original video series Conservation Nation. She's published columns in a bunch of places, and was elected to the Professional Outdoor Media Association's Board of Directors, where she serves as secretary. And she's an award recipient for the COMA for reporting on grizzly bear conservation. So I knew that she was something. I didn't know all that. So she had a conversation with Gun Freedom Radio. They post about it on their Instagram when they do those. Our friends up in Albuquerque at BMC in Albuquerque, have won Best of the City. So that's pretty cool. Best gun shop in Albuquerque. And there's like 19 something gun shops in Albuquerque. Well, I haven't been all of them now. I've been to all of them at one point. And BMC is our favorite. They're cool. They're into patches and stuff. They've helped us out, like personally, quite a bit. And I've been to all the other gun shops in Albuquerque, and there's a couple that are cool, but BMC is definitely the coolest of them. So glad to see that they got recognition for that. They now have 2 locations. Next time I go up there, I'll be able to check out the new location. I haven't been up there for that yet. I do see people jumping in. Scott is out there. Ron Wayne, welcome. CNT, did I ever say hey to CNT? I think I did. Give a puppy a pat on the head for CNT. Give him a pat on the head for Ron Wayne. No pats for George. George doesn't like patting dogs on the head, from what I understand. But we'll give him one for Gizzard. Then we got Outcast out there and Snob. Well, I guess I should be clicking on the names. Welcome, everybody. And thanks for joining us. I think I'm doing this thing on time today. Let me know, because the time zones are all weird now, or they got all weird there for a while, and I'm still, well, I just don't care that bad, but I'm sure I'm either on the right time, or I'm off by an hour. Okay, so that's kind of cool, and we'll move on to another thing about New Mexico. Their jerk governor, missed distraction. Barking dogs. So, it's annoying. If you live in New Mexico, it sucks nuts. But guess what? We can move on. The rest of the country's got a lot worse problems in Massachusetts and places. So pay attention to this. Don't forget about it. And let's keep moving, because they want us to stop and pay attention to that thing and not pay attention to all the other stuff. You know what else is going on in New Mexico besides that stupid thing? There's a border, an international border with Mexico. There might be something going on down there they don't want you looking at. You got Sierra Delta Tactical again, or Sierra Tactical Dogs here. It says, to every veteran who has undergone training, embraced development, and walked the paths of resilience, your journey is not just valuable, it's the answer to our community's needs. Your strength, skills, and commitment make you the solution to challenges around us. Sierra Delta stands with you in empowering our communities. Your service doesn't end. It transforms into a force for positive change. Thank you for being the answer. I'm seeing a lot more of this motivation or this direction with the transitioning of military veterans who, there used to be a struggle, and that used to be something that people ignored and considered to be some kind of a societal burden, when in reality it's a resource and it's an opportunity. So I talked about it a little bit the other day when people were kind of moping in the chat about the horrible things that happen online. But guess what? People that were trained to go out and kill people and found that there was not a lot of jobs that needed that done have found that by going out and becoming cybersecurity, they're able to feed that thirst, use that hunting aspect of their training, and get the satisfaction of taking out sons of bitches. So there's people out there hunting in cyber world, and there's people that are helping veterans to transition from a time when they would leave those guys hang to now they're giving them stuff to do. Anyway, it says, asset is a noun, useful or a valuable thing, person, or quality. It says, with all the skills you have developed during your time in service, you are a valuable asset to your community and our country. Let's go over and say hey to people. Baron's saying hey. A $20 super chat. Let's figure out how we can make this happen. I'm going to go over here. Open this box. $20 can mean a whole different situation for this little animal. Let's see what we can figure out for this little guy. So we've got, I could open another bag, a fresh bag of gizzard bits over here, made out of roasted gizzards. Or I've got, this got drugs in it. This has drugs in it. These are gizzard flavored, behavior modifying hemp drug, chamomile, and melatonin. So this essentially is drugs. This one is little bits of gizzard. So we'll add Baron, since Baron is paying for this adventure. Looks like somebody's happy about this. We'll let Baron decide the drugs or the gizzard chunks. Do you have an opinion on this, co-host? Which one do you pick? He's picking drugs. Wait, no, he's picking chicken gizzards. Which one are you picking? He's trying to pick both. All right, well, thanks for the super chat. Much appreciated. As I said, it goes towards the servers and the softwares. And maybe one day I'll teach this dog to work the software. That'd be great. He's saying, is this the chicken things? A brand new, fresh thing of chicken gizzards. And in honor of gizzard, we'll open it with a Sabivi. It's pretty much mandatory when you're talking about gizzard. Come on, man. Trying to get cut here. I'll just let you eat as many as you want out of there. Is that mean to him? Because he can't get his nose in there like a real dog. There's one. That's for the $10. And another $10. Let me wrap these up so he doesn't get any more. Don't have any crazy ideas. I pulled out some guacamole the other day, and next thing I know, I had a little dog sniffing my. Hey, buddy, come on. What's going on here? Let's not be vulgar. People just paid money to feed you, for crying out loud. Okay, I'm beating him back down to where he's supposed to be sitting. Yep, he hops right up like he could be dead asleep until you bring out the little bag of gizzards. Put that over there. So again, thanks for the super chat. Sorry for the distraction. There's a lot of people that say I shouldn't have a dog on a live chat like this. People a few dollars down are breeding small dogs. I think what happens is the dogs that don't that don't have anybody tell them to shut up all the time, and they got other little dogs to instigate them. They're more yappy. I don't know. I only got the one pug, and my other dogs, Mellow's only made like 4 or 5 noises her whole life, so she doesn't make noises. She's against it. So this dog, he'll bark just out of nowhere once in a while. But I'm sure if he had another friend that just sat around barking with him, he would never shut up. He'd be barking all the time, I think. But he just doesn't think it's a thing to do. He doesn't. It's not his. It's not our nature to be noisy over here. Gunpowder BDs out there, welcome. We'll give the dog here a bunch of scratches for those kiddos. It's funny when I've taken him places when there's a bunch of kids around. Mello gets all the attention and he freaks out because he likes attention so much, and Mello could care less one way or the other. But at least the last few times I've been around and kids have showed up or there's been kids at places, Mello gets all the attention. Probably because she isn't craving the attention and bugging everybody for it. This guy jumps right up and bugs everybody for it. All right, well, so that was a little break from it, but this is one of the most significant posts out there. I really like the Sierra Delta dogs. It's, again, one of the many organizations I follow that place dogs with veterans. But, the idea that we used to just leave veterans hang, or I'll say, like, hey, be better. Like, hey, quit doing whatever we asked you to do, or, blah, blah, blah. We didn't really make it difficult. Now there's definitely options. There's routes for people to take, and there's more and more brotherhood, more and more sisterhood, more and more resources, community out there, so infrastructure out there for people. So cool to find it and discover when it's out there. Think about all the times you've discovered a YouTube channel you never seen before, or some podcast you never heard before, but it's massive. It's really big. It's the same kind of thing when you're looking for these organizations that help people. Let's see. This one is pretty neat. This has nothing to do with anything really. It's from Ed's manifesto, though. He's always bringing interesting things to the table. It says that this was just sourced from 21 million people. Here are 9 tips from 21 million people. They narrowed it down to nine tips for life, I guess. The first one is, when you don't have all the facts, try to give people the most generous reason you can for their behavior. Annoyingly slow driver. Maybe it's a mom with a birthday cake in the back. This mindset will gradually make you less reactive and more compassionate. I've heard that before. It's pretty interesting. It's tough to do, but once you start doing it, I've been doing it since I read this post. I've been doing it more. And it can mess with you. It can change your mindset on stuff. The next one, number 2, always tell a child who is wearing a helmet how cool you think their helmet is. It will encourage them to always wear it in the future. That's a pretty good one. When you think a friend is upset, ask them one simple question before saying anything else. Do you want to talk about it, or do you want to be distracted from it? I haven't heard that one before, but I'm going to try to remember that one. That's pretty good. This next one, after a bad breakup, do 10 things that your ex would never do with you. You'll feel better and realize how much of yourself was being held back. I guess that's a good one. Number 5, never send a work email when you're emotionally compromised. Type it up, save it as a draft, walk away. Ideally, sleep on it. You'll make a smarter choice when you're not heated. I did that at work all the time, because it turns out when you don't do that at work, you get way worse. I don't care so much about it now, but probably should do it the same on the internet. But when I was doing the 9-to-5s, I used this one quite a bit. This one, I don't know why this one's in here. EG and IE are not the same. EG is example, and IE is in other words. So that's some nerd who worries about that kind of stuff. Worrying about that, I guess. This one's kind of neat. Family treasure. Get a blank book. Ask each family member over 50 years old to write down life advice that their descendants in 500 years should know. Keep passing it down. Now you have a family treasure that gets useful over time. That's pretty neat. I like that idea. I don't know if anybody's ever done anything like that, but if somebody's got something like that in their family, just shout out. That's kind of cool. This number 8 is, if you think of a good idea, write it down. Your brain will trick you into thinking you'll remember it later, but it's a liar. Therefore, write it down. I don't know. I do that quite a bit, but not always. I don't know if anybody else out there is a notebook carrier or a notepad on the computer or a phone type of thing. Number 9, is this the last one? Ask yourself, what does it matter to me? The next time you find yourself judging someone for their clothes or hobbies, like 9mm, the more you can train yourself to not care about the personal preferences of other people, the more relaxed and nicer person you become. Like, I don't like the way that dog sat like that, but I'm okay with it. He can sit like that if he wants. All right, so I thought those were pretty neat. Powder saying, I'm appreciating the hot cup of coffee in my car because it will be the last cup of hot coffee for 2 weeks, or whenever the winter break is over and the kids are back in school. What? Are you cutting off? You're off the coffee or something, or you're just going to be busy? Let's see. So this is kind of neat. This hasn't happened yet, but if you're in Tucson, or maybe museums near you have something like this, but they're doing Build a Drone Day on the 13th of January. It says, learn how to build and fly a customizable drone, test it in an obstacle course, and then take it home. Details and sign up at the website. And it's pretty neat. You build a modular drone. The kid built it. I think it's for kids. You build a modular drone and then fly it around, probably for something, and then you take the drone home. So that's pretty neat. I really like that. Next up is, well, let's take a look and see if Cape Gunworks is getting this show going today or not. Oh, I can't. That's copyrighted, but you can see what's happening there. I think that's just a drone. I think they stuck a drone in the front, and then with all that weight behind it, it ends up going forwards. And then whenever they slow down, it starts to drop and the weight goes down first. It's pretty clever. So I've never seen one like that before, if anyone has. And then they put the servo in it to let his neck go back and forth. So now his head turns back and forth. Super, super cool. So essentially we're watching Snoopy on his doghouse flying around. And it looks exactly like a three-dimensional Snoopy that you put on the front yard or something. The only difference is the front and back of the doghouse don't exist. It's just like an A-frame, and the drone is stuck inside of there. I don't know, something. I must have looked at some kind of remote control something, and Instagram recommended that one to me. No, it's probably also because everybody's watching the Thanksgiving special. Or wait, is there a Thanksgiving special? The Christmas special at this point? So here's Teresa Inneker reposting that one from Women for Gun Rights. I guess that's a good time to say that, we're looking at Instagram. Instagram is a platform for pictures and quick videos. And it's not really good for us as gun people because it won't share our stuff with anyone. It's up to us to share it amongst ourselves. And that was an indication of Teresa reposting or sharing a decent slide post from, the organization Women for Gun Rights. And that's how you get the word out on Instagram. Then people like me do things that pull it off Instagram, hopefully, and it gets pushed onto Twitter or some other platform. And that's what helps gets the word out about there. I think from drinking all this espresso over the last few weeks, my mouth is totally dried out. Does coffee take all your saliva away? Makes my mouth's been dry for weeks now. Anyhow, Walk the Talk America. Self-care can look like spending time at the range. I guess left-handed people are allowed to go to the range too. It says self-care can look like time on the range. We even know therapists who will meet with their clients and talk at the range. It's a calming place for them to discuss changing topics or challenging topics. Speaking of the choir, but I think that's to help the physician side of Walk the Talk America understand that, person's interests, while they might be loud, are not necessarily reckless or dangerous. So same thing with a drag strip or, I don't know, anything else that's loud, right? Maybe doing something with a chainsaw. What date are we up to at this point? We're up to December 11th. So we are not quite into the last week. So this one is Unapologetically Armed. She's still out there, her puppy, sitting on dog bed. I got 8 of those dog beds to do reviews of coming up. This is I'm used to Basset Hounds, so I want to keep saying Basset Hound, but it's not a Basset Hound. But that's definitely a face. We've had Basset Hounds in the gun website's team since it's been around. Well, maybe not since it's been around, but for a long time. 2 Basset Hounds at least, and they're old. So definitely used to seeing hounds around. But this one, I'm guessing, is a lot taller than our Basset Hounds were or are. Triggerology on a podcast.
I'm not a gun owner. Let's go shoot. But I took the steps.
Bloodhound. Right on. Thank you. I knew it was a bigger hound. But I'm sorry, I always see Roscoe in that hound face, even though I guess it's technically the wrong color.
Got certified, and from there on out, it went because of the way that I was raised and my convictions, my life experiences. I decided to also dip into my what's another word for convictions? Just my principles, right? Because my principles, I also decided to dip into the advocacy side because it just didn't feel right to only just teach people about
that aspect of firearms. Is pretty cool. So, I focus on Second Amendment stuff, and I assume that people understand when I say Second Amendment, I don't mean guns, because guns is a thing, but it's not Second Amendment at all. Or, it's adjacent, or they're near each other, but they're not the same thing. But watching in firearms instructors over the years, back in the olden days, it was a lot different. I don't even know how to explain how different it was. But even just in the last 10, 20 years now, I guess, since the 2000s, since the internet's, since the instructors have shared their stuff on the internet, the conversations have gone from, let's just say, FUD to what we have today. And now someone's very comfortable talking about how they're an advocate for our rights in a conversation about being a firearms instructor. Where back in the old days, it would have been like, maybe like, you think of like a Jay Leno or one of those kind of shows where they, the guy would come out and they'd be like, oh, you're a firearms instructor? Show us how to hold a gun. Okay, show us how to shoot it. Oh, wow, look, we shot a gun. It would be maybe the 4 safety rules or something, but it'd be more like, the same as somebody showing you about a snake or somebody showing you about a golf swing or something. It wouldn't have been much more than an explanation or an explanatory thing. And now we're seeing just about everybody. Maybe it's just the people I'm focused on, but so many people that are comfortably swinging right into the advocacy. So the world, the people out there that are looking in who aren't gun owners, are getting that taste, that facet immediately. That's pretty neat. It's not like they have to dig in and wait around for a while to get that. A cookie hound. This is the United States. There's probably somebody working on that right now, unfortunately. So this one's kind of neat. This one is from AZ Firearms. They're talking about something that's in one of their auctions probably. It's a Makarov that was made for importation. It's a double stack 9mm, so not a Russian 9x18, but a normal 9x19 German Makarov, German 9mm. And I've seen a couple of these come through the shop before. I almost bought one time, and then I didn't because it was stupid. But I almost bought it because it was stupid, and I probably should have because they're super rare. But anyway, they're talking about how it's a double stack Makarov PM, and there's people that'll fight you. They don't think 9mm Makarovs from the factory exist, but yeah, here's a picture of it. Actually, I think there's a couple of pictures of it here. They got a stupid fat grip on them in these stupid sights because they were hard to import because they were so small. So they had to put target sights on them, and I guess it's because it's double stacked. They just made these obnoxious grips for it. I don't know how they shoot. I've never shot one. So this is from the Rogue Banshee saying, liberals own guns. Oh my God, what is the world to do with people exercising more of their rights? Funny that this is news after there's the Liberal Gun Club and they take gun ownership seriously. It says, after all, there is the Liberal Gun Club and they take gun ownership seriously. So I think what he's talking about is an article that came up with someone trying to make it look like it's a new thing for gun ownership to be normal. I thought this one was pretty neat. It's one of the voluntary sites, or the voluntarism sites I follow that says when you decide to have a little fun and leave a message of truth while Christmas shopping. I've never seen Christmas stocks with just one letter on them before. It's possible that that's a thing, but I think this is probably photoshopped. But supposedly somebody went into a store and found letters on socks that spell out taxation is theft. But I'm guessing there's probably not a lot of X Christmas stockings out there, or any of them with just one letter on them for that thing. But it is kind of funny. I guess it's about to be an election year. We're going to hear a lot of, I don't like to pay taxes type of stuff. Oh, it's also coming into tax season. So here's one from Pets for Vets, another organization that that pairs up critters with people. It says how to greet a dog. Pet, or pat, pet, pause. It says pat to invite us into your space. Stand still. Oh, pat your leg. And then if your dog comes over there, don't pet their head, pet their back and side and chin. I don't know about all that. And then pause. I don't do any of this stuff. So if anybody does any of this stuff, that's awesome. I think if you're a dog person, a dog can tell, and I've never had any issues. I think I've maybe been bit by a dog before, but never by new dogs that come up. When you're a dog person, they just come up and they go, "Oh, you're a dog person? And here, let's figure out what's going on here. Figure out what that dog wants, and you pet it." But imagine for people that are apprehensive or whatever, these are good rules. Hands, raise show of hands if you follow these rules when you meet a dog. Usually I just go grab the dog and pick it up if the people are okay with that, or roll around on the ground with it if the people are okay with that. But I don't sit there and wait around for a dog to sniff me or whatever. That's weird. So, but I like the concept that they're letting people know, right? And I'm sure that some people would like this behavior if somebody came up and met their dog. People that are new to dogs, maybe. So this one is from NRA. It says NRA torches Biden administration for plan to change rules for gun buyers and sellers. So this came out 7 days ago. It says Biden's ATF proposed blah, 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 another attempt to demolish our Second Amendment with the potential to unjustly criminalize everyday Americans for engaging in lawful firearms transactions. I don't know if they're just toned out for their assholes or what, but, days after the comment period's over, are they even complaining about that? Like, whatever. So I complain about NSSF all the time. I complain about Second Amendment Foundation. I complain about Gun Owners America for sure. I complain about firearms policy. I'll complain about NRA. I mean, they're definitely not doing things right. Sometimes they accidentally do things right, but for the most part. Unapologetically Armed posted this. A couple of other ladies from the Women for Gun Rights posted this, but Diana Mueller, I didn't know about this until I saw this post. Her husband, Ryan Mueller, had fallen down and hurt his spine. So he has feeling in his legs, but he couldn't move them. And I don't know what the results of it were, but they asked for a worldwide minute of prayer. If we would have done this last week on time, I think we would have barely squeaked in to let people know about it. If they would have, seen the show live, perhaps. But that's a neat concept. You don't see that done very often. Using social to give people an actual time to, think or give prayer to someone who's doing something. And this is a person that a lot of people is adjacent to a person, is adjacent to Diana Mueller, who a lot of people know. I don't think we see too much, maybe in the competition shooting sports, this guy more. But very sad to hear. I don't know how the results of it came out, but I'm sure everyone's sending the best wishes possible. So Cape Gunworks is out visiting people in Colorado, and let's go take a second and see if their show is getting going or what's happening over here. Normally this show on Wednesday is a opening act for the Cape Gunworks radio show that happens on Wednesdays, but it is the day before Christmas or the day before or something Christmas. So maybe it's not going to happen. Look how slow my internet is. Everybody thinks my internet's fast or something. No, it's not very fast. I have a very slow internet. Yeah, I still don't see anything scheduled. So normally their show would be scheduled over here, and normally we'd send you over there. But guess what they're doing? Hanging out in Colorado, drinking coffee, I guess. So I don't know. Last time I talked to Toby about Colorado, he said he hiked up a mountain. So judging from looking down at that little tiny town down there, he may have hiked up a mountain again to take this picture. There's Diana's post for that one. And I don't know if there's been any update. Oh, Mike White saying, I once had a dog run out of his yard and bite me on the leg and then run back into his yard. Like a little tiny dog? I don't count little tiny dogs biting me. If they don't hurt me, I don't count that. But if it's a big giant dog, I'd be like, hey man, what are you doing? Something like that. And then the dog would quit it. But, yeah, I don't know. maybe you had a bunch of A1 sauce dripping down your pocket, or you had some kind of chicken leg costume on. You look like a giant chicken leg. I bet that happens to Gizzard all the time. That's probably why he doesn't like dogs, because every time he walks around, they think it's a bunch of chicken legs walking around. They run out and bite him. All right, well, so then we're getting to Pets for Bets again. It says, thank you for 100,000 followers. I have no idea where they got 100,000 followers, because they don't have 100,000 followers anywhere I found them. Maybe they're adding them all up, but who cares? They're saying thank you, so you're welcome. Any organization that puts out on the regular, uplifting, interesting things, and then for their 9 to 5 places critters with vets, they get a thumbs up for sure. See, Gizzard's trying to laugh it off, but I probably poked something there. Probably brought something up. Let's see. So this is from Carrie Ann in Massachusetts. So honored to be a state leader for Armed Women of America and proud of all these ladies for their accomplishments. I love you all so much, but none of this would happen without a fantastic team. Thank you so much, Renee, Bonnie, Sue, and Michelle. And then it's got pictures of a bunch of bags and these brochures. And I'm guessing this was some sort of Armed Women of America meeting. Another one from Manifest Radio. It's Manifesto channel. So if you look in the bottom of that corner right there, that's a gate. I'm going to go back and start it again. So there's a gate, and we're watching a gate with a bunch of cars and stuff going by, like on a busy street. And if you look, there's a little black thing squiggles under, and now it's inside. And now this little thing comes over, and it says, this is a dog that returned home after 2 years. I wish there was a way to make that bigger. That was pretty good. So essentially, the whole family came out, started freaking out because the dog came home. It's pretty cool. This is from Brady. Brady, who is one of the organizations funded by the 14th richest guy on the planet. It says there are more gun dealers in the United States, well, in America, which is fake because America is an entire side of the world, right? It's a whole hemisphere. So do they mean North America? Do they mean Central America? Do they mean South America? Or do they mean all America? But whatever. There are more gun dealers, they mean, in the United States than Starbucks and McDonald's combined. And then you got firearms policy, some dumbass meme says, winning feels good. I really like winning. I don't know. If you don't do nothing, you pat yourselves on the back all the time. Are you winning? Like, seriously? Come on. I mean, firearms policy don't do nothing. I'm not saying they do nothing. I'm just saying, as a group, if we're just sitting here losing opportunities constantly, are we really winning? But whatever. I guess we got to pat ourselves on the back sometimes. Otherwise, we don't feel like we're doing stuff. So then we got Women for Gun Rights. So we've got Beth. We've got Gabby. Somebody else. And Mary, right? From Connecticut, and then somebody else. And it says the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Crime and Federal Government Surveillance will hold a hearing on Wednesday. They held that hearing last Wednesday at 2 p.m. The hearing, Second Amendment rights empower women's rights, will examine how firearms ownership empowers women across America and assists in self-defense as violent crime continues to plague the nation. Florida State Director Shirley and Delegate Beth Alcazar are testifying. So how cool is that? So you had the lady from Florida, the one from, I don't know, is Beth from, where's she from, Georgia or something? Or I don't know if she's a regional director at this point or what she is, but both of them and two other ladies testified. And I don't know how many channels out there were talking about it, but why the hell did these ladies have to pay their own money to get there? And, why aren't there like a whole bunch of other ladies behind them? The antis, the richest guy on the planet, 14th richest guy on the planet, sends people out in droves in red shirts. We've got 4 ladies that showed up. That's not wearing a teal, I guess, but we have a couple of ladies that showed up, again, on their own dime. So it's great. It's awesome that they were able to do this. And then, I'm not satisfied. We should be able to have a bunch of ladies there. They're willing to do it. Why is there a blank spot in between all of these? What's neat is that these ladies, every time they go down there, they're learning where to park. They're learning who to talk to. They're learning the better way to get to the place they're going. They're learning like where to go to eat. They're learning the hotels to stay away from and get to the fastest. They're learning what restaurants are good and stuff like that. They're getting camaraderie. They're becoming a team. They're knowing who's got strengths and who's got weaknesses and what they can do to help each other to accomplish more. The stuff that's happening while this is going on is monumental. I don't think that's too small a word. It's ignored, but it's massive, the effort and the accomplishment that's taking place every time these ladies meet up. Remember that they're meeting up with a bunch of politicians who have political strategists standing around all around them like those little parasites on sharks, and they're paying attention to this stuff, and they see that the 14th richest person on the planet is throwing some money out to have a bunch of ladies got nothing else to do show up in red shirts. And now they contrast that with ladies that got plenty of other things they could be doing, but decided to show up here and do this. And they're not getting paid by anybody, period. The only thing good about us neglecting these ladies completely is that it shows the political strategists that these ladies really mean business. So I guess it's possible to ignore a bunch of moms that mean this kind of business that are actually grassroots, but I suspect political strategists know what's up. So this is massive. This is probably the most important thing that's happened in December. But I might be wrong. Prove me wrong by saying something else is more important than this that happened last Wednesday. Let's see. So then here's a wedding at Bannerman Castle. This is actually the house at Bannerman Castle on the island. But yeah, if you want to get married at an awesome place, you'd go there and get married, I guess. What's this one? This is from Unapologetically Armed. What is we getting paid by Unapologetically Armed to put all our posts up here or something? This one says, Senate Bill number 1166 allows concealed carry of firearms on public transportation systems. Then it says over on the side here, okay, Missourians, let's try this again. Both the Missouri House and Senate now have public transit carry bills pre-filed for the upcoming 2024 season. State Representative Adam Somebody has filed HB 1708, which includes lifting the ban on church carry, and State Senator Nick Somebody has filed SB 1166. The Missouri Ladies Women for Gun Rights will once again be working to see this restriction on our ability to carry freely removed from our statutes. We welcome you to join in our efforts. Visit the site and check out the box marked Ready to Make a Difference. Contact me. Very cool. So it's got this. I don't know what this is. Is this picture really part of the act, or did you stick this together, if you're still out there? But it's like a little graphic or whatever. And then another one that says House Bill 1708, which also has a little graphic. It says allows concealed carry of firearms on public transportation systems. So a bunch of a-hole politicians who can't see consistency or inconsistency in their logic would suggest to people that victims need to be unarmed everywhere they go because bad people will not hurt unarmed people. It just doesn't make sense. So these arbitrary restrictions on certain places are narrow-minded and tone deaf to the scenario, to the situation in real life. So kudos to Unapologetically Armed for championing these. And she said she did this to catch eyes. So you created these graphics. So well done. I think this is an example. You hear me bitch all the time about organizations that bring in millions of dollars a year, and their graphics are horrible. They're a waste of time. They're sarcastic at best, and they're silly, and they are a waste of time. This one is super good. It lets you know that the name and number of the Senate bill, gives you the information in a contrasting color, in a contrasting font, in a larger size. You get the summary, bottom line up front, essentially, all the information you might need. with a tagline, so there's consistency. That's essentially your branding. I mean, everything in textbook for a good and a near perfect media campaign. I think you hit on this. I mean, I'm just me, but I think this is very well done and useful, because now somebody can grab this and go, and it's everything they need. I mean, the only thing else you could have stuck on here was like a URL for Women for Gun Rights or something like that, which I would do because I'm a web guy. But yeah, dig it. And then you linked to people, so that's even cooler, because that's helping the internet to do its job. Most people don't bother with that stuff unless they're trying to grow their channel or something, and then they usually do it wrong. All right, so now we have Battle Comp, awesome company that really brought people together for a long, long time. Excellent community builders. It says, "You are what you do, not what you say you will do." I use this one on the thumbnail for this one. I like this one because a lot of people talk shit and then they just sit there talking shit constantly. They never do shit. Too many people would rather complain about a problem than do a damn thing about it. Period. Like, there you go. Think about how many people that bitch and how often they get up off their ass and do a damn thing about it. They prefer to gossip and assassinate someone's character than take a problem head on. I don't care about the trifling, but the people that would suggest there's nothing you can do and make a profit off of that, when's the last time they got up off their ass and did a damn thing about it? They often justify not confronting someone honestly by making excuses for the person conducting or the unacceptable behavior, by conflating their own cowardice as mercy. I'm reading that badly. They often justify not confronting someone honestly by making excuses for the person conducting the inappropriate behavior and conflating their own cowardice as mercy. Nice. Boundaries are ours to enforce. Boundaries are not demands on what others must do. Boundaries are promises. They are not threats. Boundaries merely affirm, if you continue to act this way, I will act as promised. In some cases, others may even have mandated responsibility to help. Yet we are really surprised when they do not. What then? Are we to merely accept as is? We did everything we were supposed to do and no one will help us? There is no more we can do? I don't know what that's, they lost me there. Zero tolerance conflict resolution policies that claim we do not take sides if two parties fight, both will be disciplined, are utter bullshit. Okay, I heard that one. They diminish the individual's right to self-defense in any circumstance. Young people often do not understand what is acceptable and what is the appropriate response to any number of conflicts, so we should teach them. First, establish the boundary directly. When reporting is available, report and document all times, places, and parties. If that is ineffective, enforce the boundary and escalate as necessary. Do not start anything, but if someone else starts some bullshit, finish it. If we accept it, we choose to accept it, that's on us. We stow the gossip. That's the most passive-aggressive bullshit that does diddly to solve the problem. Or do it another way. Or maybe the universe will... I don't know what that's all saying it, but I think they're basically saying, get up and do something or shut up, maybe. I don't know. That post lost me after a while, but the beginning of it was pretty good. New York Outcast got to get out of here. She fires saying good job to Unapologetically Armed, I believe. So now let's talk about Ginny Thrasher, who is Olympic shooter, and she's on top of the trendy little things that happen. She doesn't do the dancey stuff, but all these other little trendy stuff she'll participate in. Helps normalize guns. So I'm going to play it here because I don't think there's anything copyrightable in it. This is a little thing that's been going around on the Instagrams, and different people are doing it in different ways. Like, oh, I'm a dog catcher, so I have dog hair everywhere. Like, I'm a fisherman, so everything smells like fish. There's this little thing that's going around, and everybody just plays around with these things. But I like to see people who are in the community, in our community, take part of these things to help normalize guns. So let me know what you think.
We're We're rifle shooters. We're gonna tell our coach we clean our gun every day, even if we don't. We're rifle shooters. Our bags are gonna be overweight at the airport. We're rifle shooters. We're gonna be a little bit socially awkward. We're rifle shooters. We're gonna make a post on 10.9 day. We're rifle shooters. We're gonna have more shooting-themed clothing than we do days of the week. We're rifle shooters. We're gonna tell our coach.
So again, the kids are out there doing these things anyway. So having shooters who are taking part of it is awesome. Gives the kids who are, gun kids something to look up to that isn't, just garbage music or trendy clothes or whatever the hell the kids are into these days. Break dancing on the streets, parkour. I don't know what the kids do these days, but it's nice to see gun people out there participating. So in addition to going to the was it a Senate testimonial? I think it was a Senate testimonial. Beth Alcazar also went on Fox Business to have a conversation on the important topic of women and moms and guns. So, that's awesome. I don't know how often we see national level media pay attention to other than the other moms, the anti-moms, right? So this is pretty cool. And Beth isn't necessarily, only Women for Gun Rights or only this or only that. She works for USCCA, but she's not even, doesn't look like she's wearing that badge on her shoulder either. She's just wearing the badge of being a mom who understands the normal, how guns are normal. Pretty cool. I didn't see the episode or anything. If anybody did, let me know how it went. So Krabby Turtle out there shooting at one of the Old West Guns playing card jokers. Pretty cool. If anybody wants to do this and doesn't want to ruin a deck of cards, let me know. Next time you buy something from the store, I can send you a bunch of jokers and extra cards so that you don't have to ruin a deck if you want to play around like this. But I always appreciate people using our stuff for content. If it's using it for something else or using it like this to shoot at it, awesome.
Expect to see assault weapon.
Another one from NRA, making fun of what's her face and basically taking credit for whatever people are doing in New Mexico, probably.
A ban, a weapon of war, and I'm going to give Senator Heinrich, who's been working on this, but just give you a sense of how long this has been taking this country. For more than 7 years, so that the mechanics feature test, which trips us up because we modify guns in this country, you get a gun kit, legally or illegally. And so you take a firearm that's not as dangerous and you can turn it into a weapon of war. And we don't know how to define that because somebody comes up with a new kit about every 10 minutes about how to get around it. So then policymakers don't want to deal with it. Courts don't know where they are, given the Second Amendment. And it gets really dicey, complicated, messy. So we just keep ignoring it. Well, Senator Heinrich didn't. He's been at it for more than 7 years, and he's figured out that if we focus on the delivery systems, which can't be interrupted with these kits in the same way, this could be a federal vehicle. I agree with them. It's good work. Let's try that vehicle in our own assault weapons ban in New Mexico.
All right. So, it's kind of like a comedy sketch for everybody who knows reality. She's just saying a bunch of words there. And I guess they sound good. You're like, if you didn't, it's hard to not know anything about guns, I guess. But somebody needs to do a version of this where she's talking about cars. So everybody who knows about cars can listen to how absurd it is. Or, maybe about kitchen appliances like a, microwave or something. Because if she said this kind of stuff about a microwave or a car, everyone would know what an idiot she is. But that was jaw-droppingly stupid. It was a bunch of words, and she's either that dumb, seriously, or she used a bunch of words in a way that she knows it's going to accomplish what she wants. What's the word? It's going to make her side feel happy, and it's going to make our side feel upset. I mean, she used perfect words for that. Now, if she was actually trying to say something, then she's naive because she doesn't understand what semi-auto is, obviously. Or she's trying to say something deceptive. So it's just garbage, right? It's a bunch of garbage. So what does it say from the NRA here? New Mexico Governor What's-Her-Face advocating for a ban on America's most popular self-defense rifles. Really? Echoing Senator What's-His-Face's Go Safe Act as cringeworthy 68 seconds that showcases Grissom's sheer ignorance. Okay, that part I like. The cringeworthy 68 seconds that showcase Grissom's sheer ignorance. But I'll give NRA the same shit as I'll give anybody else who just it illustrates the point. Like, who cares? We already saw the point. We're all aware of what she said was stupid. How do we deal with that? What's the next step? So, I'm going to unheart this one and unlike it because I don't want to be helping this one at all any more than I already have. But this is an example of just doing nothing. I mean, it is interesting to hear her say it because it's the only time I heard her say it, but it doesn't move the ball forward. It just says,
Expect to see us.
Just says, oh, look how stupid she is. Well, we know she's dumb, so let's work with that. How do we talk to people and show them how dumb she is, for example? All right, so getting out of 2A stuff and more into gun stuff, this is our friend Rob, who makes the AK-47 catalogs, and I don't know what number he's up to now, but he's been doing these for a while. I mentioned before he has unprecedented access, and he's taken high-quality images since the early 2000s of Kalashnikovs and some variants, but mostly Kalashnikovs. So I haven't really had any discussions around in a long time, but this I always like to showcase this stuff. People that think AKs are like they're kind of like an AR, but unlike an AR, so many countries made AKs, and so you've got 13 countries with the same thing that we've got going on with the AR. So at this point, you've got countries that have had the AK for so long that it's theirs, and they're messing with it. So the AK is probably the most prolific rifle on the planet, and Rob is he's done the most effort, period, on documenting it. And hopefully this slideshow here has shown you some of you can tell they're all AKs, and hopefully you can tell from their magazines and stuff, their calibers. And if you're reading it, or you can tell from the furniture what countries they're from. But super neat illustrations of how diverse the AKs are. And that's also one of my favorite AKs. These are German 5.45s. I'd probably rather have it in 7.62, but I really like German guns for whatever reason. I don't really like Germans that much, but their AKs, I just really like that triangle side folder. The front Bakelite stuff is just groovy. I don't know why I like it so much, but it's not. It's a little bit grippy, but it's not obnoxious, and it's super thin. So it's it's just super compact. Most of the time, you're not using your gun. Most of the time, you're just carrying it around. And these guns are super comfortable to carry around. And when you need them, they're super strong and they just work. They're super good guns. But anyway, like I say, I'm not that big a fan of German stuff, but I definitely like their AKs. Let's see. So this is another one from Rebecca Schmoy. It says, don't let those who are doing nothing tell you that nothing can be done. Don't let those who are doing nothing tell you that nothing can be done. It's time to tell people that shit. There's nothing wrong with telling people that either. You're not doing anything. Don't tell us nothing can be done. Show me your failures. Show me your attempts and failures, and then tell me that, what can be done. But anyway. Then it says, your advocacy, your work, your dedication, that is what is changing the world. You communicating with and educating those within your ever-broadening sphere of influence is having a ripple effect which you cannot see yet, but it is reaching out far past your view. Keep going, keep doing, keep educating, keep in the fight. You are making a difference. Never give up. I can't tell you how many people I've known over the years that peek their nose in. Think of it as a gun shop. I was working at the gun shop. Most people would walk right in. They knew what was up. They knew us. They knew what they wanted. They wanted to say, hey, they wanted to see if we had something. They needed some ammo. They had something in mind. They came in, they did it, they left. But then there's also the people that had never been in our shop before. So they would open up the door, and they've been in lots of other gun shops. They kind of knew what was to expect, but they didn't know what our gun shop was going to be like. So they came in a little bit less tentative, a little bit more tentative, I guess, a little bit less comfortable. And then there was people that maybe had been to gun shops before, but not that often. And they came in like they knew that there was a procedure. They knew there was, things you can do and shouldn't do. They knew there was appropriate behavior and inappropriate behavior, but they weren't comfortable. And then you have people that don't really know any of that, and they're walking into a store like they're walking any store. And then you got people scared shitless walking into a gun shop. You got people that have never been in a shop before. They if they're allowed to go in there. Laws, they don't know the rules. Is my internet breaking up? So that's a bunch of different people in the gun shop. Hopefully you can picture that, standing at the counter of a gun shop. There's all these different ways that people are in the door and then interact with your store. Well, think about that with the Second Amendment. Think about that with our rights. There's lots of people that are comfortable and they talk about this stuff, and it's no big deal. Hopefully we all get to that point because we're trying to normalize our rights, right? But then there's people that are like, every once in a while they know who to talk to. Every once in a while they know where to get the information. It's not the top of their mind. They're not going to bring it up in every conversation or nothing, but they know that they can bring it up. They're comfortable when they should bring it up. They do. And then there's those people that know it's a topic of conversation, but they're just not into it yet. Like they don't understand it yet. It's too much for them. They haven't figured it out, right? And then there's people that don't even know it's a thing yet. They just know that they got a gun. They know that they like shooting a gun. They like to go hunting. They like to know that they're secure. They like to have a shared hobby with their family or something. And then there's people that are scared. They just don't know yet. They're not sure if everyone should have it. What do you mean? You want criminals to have guns? Yeah, I don't care if criminals have guns, because guess what, sweetie pie, they've already got guns. Criminals have guns right now. Criminals that want to kill each other are killing each other. The rest of them just have guns. Like, guns aren't the bad thing. Criminals being criminals is a bad thing. But the fact that they have guns isn't that scary of a thing. They want to make you think it is. But guess what? Criminals have cars. Criminals have knives. Criminals have poison. Criminals have access to stairways. Criminals are, people. So this idea that, rights, that gets scary to people. And they go, well, I'm okay with some people having rights. And you're allowed to think that way for a while, but you'll get comfortable. Everybody can have rights. Rights are kind of for everybody. Oh, you mean ex-felons and shit like that can have rights too? Yeah, guess what? They can have rights too. It's not that scary, but not everybody can get to that right away. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? But it's important for people to understand that the work that we do, the conversations we have, you're being comfortable in advocacy has priceless results and unmeasurable results. What if you said something in front of somebody comfortably? Well, that's my right. And they've never heard that before. They've never heard that before. Not in that, not like in the, it's my right, it's my Second Amendment right, but it's like, no, it's my civil right. It's our civil right. It's that person's civil right. Some people just haven't thought of it in those words before. And just that spark, you could create the next activist. Because guess what? Activists are just people that have got that spark, and then they want to share that spark with other people. And they have the ability, the time, the skills, the resources to get that word out. And you don't know if you're talking to the next viral superstar or if you're talking to the next, shooting star that's going to eventually shoot out. But who cares? Because it's not a, we are looking to win this and it's over. We're just looking to keep it going. So being comfortable with your advocacy, being comfortable with your work, being comfortable that or having a dedication on something that you're interested in, it is what's changing the world. If you're not concerned, if you get any kind of inclination from anybody you pay attention to out there that the world isn't changing in a positive way, they're not paying attention. They're either blind or they're deceiving people because they want to get more views or they just want to be mopey. But the things are changing in a positive direction in all different kinds of ways. It's not a no-brainer. It's not a done deal. We're not finished, but we're certainly not over. And it's certainly not dire. So this is a great post by Rebecca. Really liked it. I put best post of the year might be. Thank you. I don't know why nobody else posted on this one, but I really, really dig this post this year. When you feel nervous about stepping out of your comfort zone, say to yourself, it feels scary because it's unfamiliar, not because I'm incapable. I don't know how many people feel like that, but I think that's a good one. I don't know how many, it's not something I think about too much. So I didn't think that was I never thought about that being a thing, but I dig it when I find something that's addresses something, a fear that I didn't know people have. So if you think you're not capable, what the fuck? Like, everybody's capable. Like, there's the least capable people out there are massively capable. Like, capability is something that you discover. So you discover it because you've done stuff. So just start doing stuff and you'll discover how capable you are. But I never thought about people not being advocates or not doing something because they don't feel like they're capable. Seriously, every single person you've seen accomplish something started out by not knowing how to do it. Nobody knew how to do something before they figured out how to do it. It doesn't work. It's cart before the horse. Gun Owners America. Before, this guy was making fun of the comment period. What's he saying this time? Oh, the Undetectable Firearms Act. Super, what do you call it? News of the day. Like, super.
Who is speaking? GOA is the only pro-gun lobbying organization to oppose the Undetectable Firearms Act since
serious?
its passage into law in 1988. The act itself began as an attempt to ban handguns like the Glock 17 when they were first introduced into the market in the mid-'80s. At this time, polymer-framed handguns were a very new idea, and a misunderstanding about the Glock's polymer frame prompted an idea that even though the Glock had a metal slide.
All right, whatever. So if you don't know the story about the Undetectable Firearms Act, it's not your fault. It's because none of the national level organizations ever talk about it. And this is the one example we have to challenge that. So they are talking about it in this one post. But I'm going to challenge people to hear this post over the noise of everything else that Gun Owners America have posted lately. So they suggest that it'll expire it'll expire on the 2nd of February, 2024. I commend the Gun Owners America for bringing it up. It should be something we'd be petitioning as a community. Like, the entire industry should be focused on removing this stupid idea that guns are made out of plastic. We all know that they're not. And they use this bullshit law that's been in existence since 1988 to suggest that that's why, that precedent has been set that plastic guns, that undetectable guns are so dangerous. Well, they're not dangerous. It's dangerous. People are dangerous. Poisons are undetectable. Right? Pushing somebody off of a stairway is undetectable. So this is a bullshit fake law that got put into effect with a 10-year expiration, and they keep putting it through. It's expired before and then got put back in again. So this is a failure of the gun community and our industry of not keeping us aware of these things so that we can challenge them. But we're better off when we challenge these things because we then learn how to challenge these things. So once we get challenging this one, then we can start challenging the bun stock. Then we can challenge the Suppressor Act. Then we can challenge the NFA, or in whatever order you want. But let's start challenging something already, or keep challenging. I don't act like we've never challenged anything. But this one is, I don't know. I don't like the post. It's too little, too late. But it's also the only thing that I've seen about it. So I have to commend them on one hand, and then go, how come this is it? Thank you for doing it, but how come this is all we get? Cody Firearms Experience says they'll be closing early for a private event. I just figured I'd put that in there because it's neat that gun shops use Instagram or the social platforms to let their customers know. So imagine if you were, planning on going over there. You were in Cody for whatever reason, you live there maybe, and you're planning on going over there. Because of social, you can now readjust your plans and not be, stuck driving all the way over there or something. It's pretty neat. We didn't have that back in the old days. So for us old people, it's just neat to see that. Sort of like if the yellow pages would, when you looked in the yellow pages to find the address of a place back in the old days, if it would somehow come up and say, here's our business hours, like that was unheard of. Or if it could come up and say, we're closed for the rest of the day. That would be amazing. Platitudes. Thank you. That was the word I was thinking of. Let's see. CNT is saying if the Constitution had any teeth, these tyrants would be thrown out of office for trying to pass bills like this. Well, it's not the Constitution. It's the constituents. If the judges were taken off the bench for upholding unconstitutional laws, we wouldn't be so twisted. I don't know. Can you take judges off a bench? I don't know how that works, but I don't know. All right, next one is, what do you know? For good rights, take it out in front of the this is at the Utah State Capitol. It says 2A day at the Utah State Capitol was a success. What? I didn't even know there was a 2A day. Women for gun rights showing up to make an impact and counter the harmful optics of groups like Mom Demand all over the country. Thanks for our Utah Women for Gun Rights group making this happen. I'm perplexed on whether or not you should actually use the adversary's full name because you're kind of helping them. So I think I would say like Mom's Demand with some sarcastic name or, something else so that you got the point across without actually giving them credit. But otherwise, Utah, definitely a good 2A state, a bunch of people that know what's up. Very few, I don't think I know any jerks from Utah, do I? Pretty much everybody, no, it's not true. There's a couple of people from Utah that are kind of weird, but they're just weird. They're not like, there's not that many a-holes in Utah. They're pretty cool people up there. So, I would imagine that Women for Gun Rights delegate or contingents, what do you call yourselves when it's is it a crew or like a delegation? Whatever. I guess it's a delegation if they all showed up. But the group from Utah, I'm assuming, is pretty strong as far as state groups go. Looks like it's a pretty good group there. See a bunch of dudes, though. What's up with that? And Utah, nice looking capital. Dig it. Dang it. I don't know. They keep showing me airplane stuff. So there's a lot of airplane stuff this week. So that's an airplane dropping a C-130 dropping a tank. C-5s can drop them all day long, but it's cooler when the C-130 does it. Anyway, it's super cool. And it's not super cool if you're on the ground about to get wailed on by that tank. Or I guess, yeah, that's a tank. That's an M1. This is kind of neat. Oh, I guess I can't play music. Come on, Marines. So this one essentially is just but that's a Chinook. So if you ever see one of Chinook flying around, you go, I wonder what's inside of that Chinook over there. Is this a Chinook? Yeah, right? So anyway, when you turn around and look in there, that's what it looks like to have a bunch of Marine Raiders. Pretty much you wouldn't want to have those guys mad at you. There's a lot of other people you wouldn't want mad at you, but you're not going to see them coming. These guys are going to come in and there's going to be a commotion. This one's pretty good. So the Air Force gave the Navy a plane and they dunked it in the water. And if we had more time, we could look at the comments on this one. But essentially, this is a airplane. Somebody gave the Navy an airplane, and it's a submarine attack airplane, and the Navy dropped it in the water. And it essentially took a whole bunch of time to get it out of there. So the comments on here are pretty excellent. If you're interested in reading that kind of stuff sometime for a chuckle. Just my advice, if you're the Navy, quit throwing airplanes in the water and everyone will be happier and you wouldn't have to deal with such abuse. Then this one is a podcast from the, New Jersey. What is it? Oh, it's just New Jersey First, I think. Or is it the New Jersey... Oh, I can't think of what the name of it is. Anyway, it's a podcast in New Jersey, and it is an interview with somebody who's running for Congress there. Just giving a plug for that, I guess. This is Triggerology again, who we had on earlier. It says, this is pretty good. So this is a billboard that says, help prevent suicide, securely store your firearms. And that's from keepitsecure.net, the Veterans Administration. And then somebody is commenting on it. It's not a hardship to ask someone to wait a few days and have time to reconsider a very spontaneous and tragic act. So I don't know if they're talking about suicide there or if they're talking about violence there. But it's some condescending bullshit about, well, if we just make everybody wait to buy property, then we won't have violence or something. So Triggerology is saying, you didn't have to wait to make this ridiculous post. Would you be okay with a third party gatekeeping you from your right to speak when you want to speak? So well said. I really, really, really dig that one. I don't know if that one's going to it's probably not going to get a lot of attention out there, but I think that's a great response to that one. And again, I caught a whole bunch of airplane videos. I don't know what happened. So this is C5, pretty much our biggest plane. We have a bigger plane, I think. Wait, do we? Anyway, that's our biggest plane that we use all the time. And its front wheels didn't come down. So look at how well this pilot is able to do this thing, do their thing. Who knows who the pilot is? With all them back wheels and everything and the balance, I can't even imagine. They must have to practice this unless this pilot is just super good. But it takes all the way until they're almost done, way at the end here. And then the front end will hit the ground and it'll catch fire. And that runway was all full of soapy bubbles or something. So that probably helped a little bit. But that pilot had that nose up. That's probably pretty difficult. And Foss was talking about this the other day, but this is an F-111. It's our low, it's a very low altitude bomber. So back in the days of radar and stuff, when we would want to get into another place that had a radar, maybe some kind of missiles or something that would resist airplanes. The F-111 was made to fly about 50 feet off the ground really fast, and then is a bomber, so it would drop bombs to get the hell out of there. But instead of going fast up in the air, it went fast really close to the ground. Super cool plane, and you flew next to each other. It was the only plane we've ever, well, a long time. It's one of our few planes that we have where the pilot and the co-pilot sit next to each other in a bomber. I guess it's because it's a bomber, but in a small plane like that. So anyway, one of the things the F-111 can do is drop its fuel out the back, and it can also kick on the afterburners when it does that, and that creates this massive flame. Normally, it's not for any reason other than to look cool, but that's what this is. They're just doing this maneuver past some kind of an event, I'm assuming. But you don't get to see them do it very often, period, because it's dangerous, I guess, and they don't like doing it. It costs a lot of money. But it's also something they don't normally do over a town, like over this city or whatever this is. So this is probably some other countries, because we don't do that kind of stuff here. It says Royal Australian Air Force. So I guess in Australia, they don't care about the people on the ground. This is from the Los Angeles Police Museum. And this is the car from, wait, is this the car from 1 Adam 12? Or it's a car from 1 Adam 12, or it is the car from 1 Adam 12? But they're talking about how they put in new brakes and fuel system. I don't know. Are you okay with a museum putting in new parts to make a vehicle like this run, make it still street worthy? Or should they leave it as a museum piece and leave it as is? I don't know if it really makes that big a difference. I'm just curious. I mean, I really like the LA Police Museum. I feel like they could probably leave the original one as is and get another one. Like, seriously, like, it's not like they only have one of these old cars. But, something about reading this post when they said they changed out the fuel system made me think, what the hell? I thought museums are supposed to leave things as is. It's not really much of a museum. If some kid's going to go there and open the hood and it's like a brand new engine, then it's just like going to a store. It's not like looking at something old. Bass Reeves has been on Apple or else on Amazon, I forget. But it had an 8-episode season just ended. Super good. I thought it was pretty good. Maybe not super good. Very good. I'd say better than average show, though. Bass Reeves is Lone Ranger. So he's a dude who lived in real life, and they made a movie or an 8-episode show about him that just aired. This is from the Marshall Museum, though, and it says, join us tonight for a presentation and panel discussion about the representation of Deputy U.S. Marshal Bass Reeves in the historical record and popular culture. Our panelists include somebody, and another guy. So people who probably know what's going on are going to sit around and talk about Bass Reeves, probably because that show just came out and it's super fictionalized, I'm sure. Like, I have no idea his actual story, but this thing, there was a lot of drama with his wife, let's put it that way. Like, who knows if all that happened. But there was definitely like 8 episodes of family drama in there. But this is on December 13th, so I do have time. I actually told people about this one ahead of time. So often stuff on Instagram doesn't get posted very far ahead often. So by the time I do this show once a week, I'm usually telling you about stuff that already happened. Kid Safe is out of Oregon. This is a really cool post. I don't know if he used, this looks like he used a thing that I used to use a long time ago. There was a filter for this one thumbnail software that did this. Kind of looks like a stained glass or something. So it's a weird color effect. I don't know if there's a name for this effect, but I thought it was cool. And it's, he's cocking a Red Ryder BB gun, I'm assuming. And it's just interesting, even with such a blocky version of the image, it's still pretty clear that that's a Red Ryder, based on its kind of articulature of its lever like that I'm pretty sure everybody's intimately familiar with from growing up with. Maybe not everybody, but a lot of people are intimately familiar with for growing up with. We're going to listen to this one. This one's from Byron Rogers, who's in a lot of ways kind of like Ed's Manifesto. I just watch their channels because they post a lot of interesting stuff. But Byron posts some really lame stuff too. So anyway, you're saying Bass Reeves arrested his own son for murder? I didn't know that one. They didn't show that in the show. But his kid was only maybe 15 or something when the show ended. Maybe not even that old. He might have been like a kid, like a 10-year-old kid or something. I don't know. Let's go to the next one though. It's interesting. It's a good one, I guess.
Let me tell you about a voice. Not this voice, but the one inside. The one that whispers. It tells me what's right and what's not, when to leave and where to go.
I figured that'll copyright me, so I'm not going to play the whole thing. But this is, again, an example of the kind of posts that are on Instagram that make it interesting. Like, some people probably just look at the pictures on Instagram, but I'm usually looking at the small videos and the posts as well. This one is Rick Ector up in Detroit. This is one of the cartoons I did a long time ago of folks, and he's using it. That's kind of cool. Glad people are enjoying them or making use of them. Speaking of people making use of stuff, Krabby Turtle grabbed some stuff over at the store. Thanks for that. And he also won a Civivi. So you got the Civivi. Okay, I can't remember the name of that one. But that's the one with the blue aluminum handles. Hopefully he likes smooth aluminum. But it's got the button lock and the nice blade. Good size one and everything. And then I sent him a bunch of patches as well and some stickers. And he's posting about it here. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. I should probably talk about that more often. Thanks to Krabby. It was always fun to know that the stuff gets there. So I appreciate it when people post. But then, of course, it's always a good idea to have, people talking about the store out there. So very cool when people post. Do appreciate it. Another one from Unapologetically Arms. This one's talking about pre-filing of bills for the 2024 legislative session begins on December 1st. Been compiling a list of firearms-related ones from day one, and we'll be sharing those with you as I'm able to find them. This one, SB 1273 from State Senator or whatever, addresses the situation the delegates for Women for Gun Rights are forced to contend with. Employers who don't allow concealed carry and go so far as to not even let them leave their firearms safely stored in their vehicles while on the clock. Once again, this is an issue that can disarm a woman for her entire day, and we do not like it one bit. If this prevents you from carrying as well, please tell your district representatives and senators that you wish them to back these bills. As the full text hasn't been posted yet, so I'm anxious to read about how the employer liability part is written. In the Missouri House, Representative somebody else has filed HB 1408, which prevents employers from terminating any employee who leaves firearms. Prevents employers from terminating any employee who leaves leaves a firearm safely stored and out of sight in a vehicle. Says the employer would not be civilly liable for injuries or damages resulting from the use of the firearm. The same bill language has been added to a Senate bill that has been filed by another senator. More on it later because there's just too much to go into. So that's cool. So they have a modification to provide like relief from liability from employers so that employees can store their firearms. And essentially another one that they're sort of the same. This one would allow you to have the firearm in your vehicle during work or something while at the employer's. Smeggy's out there still, and he's always happy when he gets leg room. So it looks like he's heading home for the holidays. He was one of the co-hosts of this show back in the day. It was good to see Smeggy out there. And just as Smeggy's on here, Alan Anchor shows up. Was that coincidence? Or not? We don't know. I was just up your way the other day. I was going to say, hey, I should stop by, but then I went from Mesa all the way over to the Phoenix one, and then I had two of the other things to do while I was up there. So I would have just not been able to come by, really. But next time I go up to just Mesa, I'll say hey. Next up is SHOT Show, which is coming up. Come on, man. Can't leave these things on or take them off. So this is interesting.
2024. We came out in 2023 with the rifle chassis and the 1022.
So they played music so loud you can barely hear her, but she's from Timber Creek, a company that it says Timber Creek Outfitters is a family-owned and operated business in Springfield, Oregon, offering high-quality, made-in-the-USA parts and accessories for your favorite firearms in your favorite colors, online at dealers across the United States. So I've heard of Timber Creek. I didn't know they were U.S. made, though, so now I care more about it. But this is like, hey, SHOT Show's going to give you an exhibitor profile. Well, we're like 40 days away, and there's like how many thousands of exhibitors? Are we going to get more than one? Like, I like this idea, but let's get a lot of them. Let's have these happening every couple of hours. You know, like, come on. So let's see if this happens a lot. Alan Akers saying, come by whenever. We just built a whole outdoor seating area. Right on. It's definitely like this is not a normal winter. This is definitely a hot winter. Normally it's cold once in a while. It has not been cold out here this year. Sorry if wherever you're listening to this, it's cold because it's not been very cold here. This is Yankee sending somebody a magazine. I just thought that was a pretty cool, like, I guess that's supposed to say the Yankee Marshal. It's kind of like graffiti, but kind of you use the Yankee Marshal, what do you call it, stylized it into a pistol. I thought that was pretty good. He probably paid somebody to do it, though, knowing Yankee. This is from the Virginia Citizens Defense League. When they do their rallies, because it's so difficult to park in downtown, wherever it is that they do them, Richmond maybe. Is that the capital of Virginia? So they have these buses that they wrap, and they use them to, people will meet up at different places around, and then these buses will grab people and grab them and drop them off down at the rally. So these are shuttles for the rally, and they wrap them in orange, and it says, owning a gun is not a crime. Let's keep it that way. I don't know if I like that saying or not, but whatever. It's neat that they do that, and it's neat that they shuttle. I've been to the Albuquerque rallies, and Albuquerque sucks. Not Albuquerque. What is it called? Santa Fe, New Mexico is the capital of New Mexico. Santa Fe sucks. Santa Fe is like old as hell. It's like from the olden days. So the streets are wide enough for maybe a horse and another horse, maybe. But really it's only wide enough for one horse. And they left it like that. So you can only drive one car at a time in most of downtown Santa Fe. And the blocks are like as big as two small houses. So everything is the size of tents. Like everything is tiny out there. So there's nowhere to park. There's only a couple of places to park, and they're really far away from where the rally is. I didn't like anything about it. And that to me seemed like, and they knew that. Like people that live in New Mexico know that already. Like they should have already known that. And there's gun shops, right? And why couldn't there have been, hey, park it at our gun shop. We'll have somebody watching the vehicle, so you don't have to worry about that. We'll have a shuttle, so now you can shuttle down to the rally. And guess what? Now you can hang out with people in the shuttle and talk about stuff kind of quietly on your way to the rally. Meet a bunch of people and potentially meet a bunch of different people on the way back. It's win, win. And you can wrap the vehicles. Come on. And your rally is going to get bigger. And then you can do some kind of an incentive at the gun shop, right? Like, so I don't guess why we don't do that. But Virginia does. So well done, Virginia. So this one is from 1 Million Moms Against Gun Control, and they posted this thing that in childhood you're all worried about getting ice cream, and in adulthood you're all worried about, or I guess I should say in childhood you're worried about the van coming around with ice cream, and when you're an adult you worry about the UPS van coming around with ammo. I guess it's funny. It was funnier when I clicked on it, I guess. Remember I was talking about airplane stuff? This is our airplane museum here in Tucson. You can almost see my house from this picture. Like if you had a magnifier, you could almost see my place from here. But this is the Air Force Museum, or the Airplane Museum. It's not really the Air Force Museum. That's a guppy. Look how big that airplane is. Look at all these airplanes. I'll show you a C-130 when it comes up. C-130s are tiny. You'd think they're big. Oh, it just barely happened over there. That's the giant one, the B-29. We have like one of the first B-52s, if not like one of the first B-52s ever made. We got a bunch of hospital airplanes and stuff like that. A lot of airplanes like this guppy. I believe, well, I think that was a cargo one. But we have some airplanes that were made for doing zero-G. And you can see it's just a big, super cool airplane museum. And the volunteers, there's a C-130. You can barely tell, but it's kind of a tiny plane compared to all these big cargo planes. Anyhow, so that's a cool, I don't know how they got this footage because it's super not possible to fly a drone. That's an Air Force base right there. And on the other side is an airport. So you definitely can't fly a drone here. So this is either done by a helicopter or they got some kind of permission or something because you can't fly a drone here. So this is super rare to see this kind of footage too. It's super neat to see the airport from above. All right, let's see what Cindy says from Gun Owners America.
This would be a huge win for gun rights advocates everywhere. Stopping the ATF from getting away with whatever interpretation of the Second Amendment or congressional statute they get from their monkeys on typewriters in the basement would be a massive blow to their power. This would also stop the sneaky anti-gunners from petitioning the Biden administration from pushing their gun control through the White House. Instead, having to go up against the patriots in the House and Senate, like Rep. Massey, Rep. Roy, and Senator Lee, and the countless others who have our backs. What this means is that agencies like the ATF will have much less power to interpret and make law through regulations. This would be a huge win for gun rights advocates everywhere. Stopping the ATF from getting away with whatever interpretation of the Second Amendment or congressional statute they get.
Seriously, that's what Alex Uli was talking about this Monday when we were having the conversation. Yesterday. 2 days ago. This Loper Bright Supreme Court case. She doesn't even. She alludes to it. She doesn't even talk about it. She goes, "Have you ever heard of the Loper Bright case? A little-known case is set to be heard by SCOTUS in January of 2024 and has the potential to end the three-letter agencies to make regulations. This would be a huge win and would stop the pesky ATF rules." I mean, I guess that's a way to boil it down, but Tiffany just essentially says a bunch of rhetoric. So, no. Supposed to like Gun Owners America, I guess, but come on, man. I mean, are we able to be educated? Like, can we be educated? Do we need to hear just the gist of it? Do I only get the elevator speech, or can I get the actual data from the national level organization that's supposed to be coordinating our efforts? Maybe they're not supposed to be coordinating our efforts. Maybe I'm asking too much from them.
I've got predictions for this. I am predicting that me with the AK is...
So this is Rachel B. and some other people doing some kind of a shootout that you'd expect to see a bunch of Yahoo dudes doing on YouTube. So Supervel is the people that invented the 9mm hollow point. They're still kicking, and that's one person in this video. So she's using the Supervel 5.56 ammo, and Rachel B is using an AK, and they're shooting. Essentially, they'll show what they're shooting at. They're shooting at these gelatin targets that have bones in them. They're like anatomy targets from Ballistic Dummy Lab. and they're interesting. You'll see why they're interesting targets, because they're visually reactive. You can actually see the bones that would break and the way that the hits would happen in the torsos that are, allegedly like, the texture and the consistency of a regular human target. But they're also kind of made to be like zombie entertainment things, because they have colored stuff that explodes when you shoot them, and they're made out of clear gel, so you can see all this stuff happen when you shoot them. But anyway, I just thought this was interesting to see two girls nerding out on this stuff. This used to be the realm of like loser YouTubers who would have nothing else to do and try doing this kind of stuff because somebody gave them a bunch of targets or paid them to shoot at these targets. So now that culture has become a thing, and now girls are doing it. So that happened. Somebody wants to get depressed about people shooting. Well, actually, that wasn't too bad. If they would have been shooting frying pans or iPhones, that would have been worse. Here's yet another law enforcement person who quit to focus on the border privately. What is this phenomenon? Is this a good thing or a bad thing? It's happening in Texas more than anywhere else. But if I can get this thing to find the mute here, it's not very long.
And in the army of God. So we'll keep telling truths. And you need to get this video to your legislators and tell them, in the state of Texas particularly, this is out of control. Thank you very much.
I'll let it repeat here because I got it right in the end.
Doc Chambers from Eagle Pass, Texas. Today's the 18th of December. We're out here at the point of entry. 5,000 are sitting on the ground right now. It's increasing as we go along. Information that we've received says another 7,000 should be processed through this particular point by morning. Joe and I have been here many times. Last time we were down here, we were in uniform, and now I'm a civilian and in the army of God. So we'll keep telling truths. And
so essentially another law enforcement out of Texas stepping down to focus on the 5,000 to 7,000 people a night that are coming through on that border crossing. I don't know, a lot of people complaining about it, and I think there's things they're trying to distract from, and guns are one of the things they're using to distract. Got a lot to gain by getting some of our national attention back once we end the gun debate. How do I get rid of the sound? You can't listen to the sound on here, but I'll play that again so you can see it without the sound. Take a look at a little drone fun. So this is snow, looking down at some paper targets in the snow, and they just dropped a smoke grenade out of an inexpensive drone. So I don't know what people used to think SHTF was, or what do they call it? Gen 4 warfare is going to be like. Maybe it's Gen 5 at this point. That's a smoke bomb. Then we've got the tactical games. Got a couple of organizations here to wrap it up that are putting out their schedules for next year already. So look at that. There's one in Sierra Vista. It's February 24th and 25th. Well, Alan Anker's out there. I don't know if it's worth hooking up with tactical games at all. I don't know, but they do a lot of interesting stuff. Then you got, looks like Florida, Texas, Idaho, Pennsylvania, North Dakota, Iowa, which isn't really technically a state, New Hampshire, Utah, and South Carolina. So I like it when organizations, I'm not going to the tactical games. It's not my thing, but I dig the concept of it, and it's definitely helping a lot of people out that like it. And, they kind of have to, because they're not incompetent, and they care about their people that want to participate. So they're putting out their schedule in mid-December for the entire next year. Look at how awesome that is. I wish all organizations would have the same appreciation and respect for the people that would like to participate in their events. The Mingle, another organization. This is the Complete Combatant out of Georgia. It's been a while. I think it's in Georgia. And a long time ago, they started having the Mingle, hosting the Mingle, I should say, which is, I think, the first and only, okay, it's not the first, but it's the first decent, that's not a scam. Oh, I said it. It's the first decent assemblage of Second Amendment ladies that happened. And then I think because of that, DC Project happened and some of the other ones happened. I might be off on the timing on that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it happened. And maybe it happened in reaction to the scams. I mean, the original groups that would exploit make money off were out there originally for the ladies. So the first couple organizations I don't have that much respect for. Not all of them, just a couple of the first organizations were there to sell stuff to ladies, pink things, let's say. The Mingle, I think, was an alternative to that. Hey, there's people out here that are getting things done, and they're not satisfied with the pink, everything's girly way of doing things. Let's just get things done. We happen to be female. Let's use those resources and those skill sets to our advantage and not just paint them pink and giggle. So anyway, put a lot of words in their mouth. But the Mingle is also putting out, when they're going to happen. So instead of having to wonder if it's going to happen again, it's out there. So with that, I think we're done. That was the last one. It was a long show today, 2 hours and a half, because Cape Gunworks didn't have a show today, and I hadn't done this show for 2 weeks. So instead of just doing half-ass, I did the whole thing. Let's see if I'm wrong, and Cape Gunworks is doing a show now. I might have just corked half their show going so long. Let's find out. Look how slow my internet is. Anybody thinks, oh, this guy's got a fast internet. He's a big deal on the internet. He must have super fast internet speeds. Nope. Super slow internet speeds. It's still happening. It still hasn't even loaded all the way. But I can already tell that they have not done a show today. So where did we send you? I forgot where we sent everybody. I don't think we sent you anywhere. Customization. We have yet to redirect you to something. So I'll just click on redirect and click over here and see what it recommends to me. I can recommend myself. Oh, I'll recommend Chris from the 740. What am I thinking? So that'll be tomorrow, it looks like. Chris will be on with Red Raider Reloading, Benefit with Scottish American. So we're going to recommend that. And I don't think I had a poll going or anything like that. Let's take a quick look at the comments. Alan Anchor saying, I'm convinced all of Arizona has had lame-ass internet. No, I'm telling you, I worked at AOL and we had amazing. Like, I've seen real internet before. Amazing internet. And that was back in 97. We have huge internet in Arizona. It's just that it was all the Air Forces. So, and the universities have it. But yeah, a lot of us have, I don't know if it's the rain that comes in and wails on our wires or if it's the sun that's, we would think we'd have a lot of extra copper here to make like really fat copper wires everywhere, but we must sell all of our copper. All right, well, today's Wednesday, so I don't know what to tell you. Chris doesn't do a show on the regular on Wednesdays. Roll Call quit, one of the many shows that stopped doing shows. Foss had to change his show to Saturday, so the Wednesday Mouse Party is every other Saturday now, interlocked, so to speak, with the overnight show. Did you see a scorpion that turned into copper from being in a copper mine? No. Like it turned into like fossilized into copper, you mean? Or like ate enough copper that the skin became copper? Having copper scorpions would be pretty awesome. I would think that if we were able to watch a scorpion turn copper just by eating copper all the time, people would be doing that to scorpions. We'd have copper scorpions going around, and then we'd be fighting them. It coated the shell in copper. I feel like if that was a thing, I guarantee you miners would be fighting scorpions with copper armor. Although that is neat. How come we never did put armor on like a chicken or armor on what else do we fight? Dogs? Or armor on what other things do people fight? anything, whenever they fight, they should be putting armor on it. It would be cooler. I've seen them put weapons on chickens before. I don't think they put spike collars on dogs, or is that fake? Anyway, dog fighting's not good. Don't do dog fighting. Anyway, because this one is degraded, so we're ending it. Anybody wants to throw any last comments out there, feel free. Otherwise, we will close all this up. We'll flip it back to the dog butt, who is sitting right here, sleeping. He's disgusted in my lack of paying attention to him for so long. So we'll go back to wiggling this dog a little bit and make sure he doesn't think that he's neglected over here. Hey, you're not neglected over here, my friend. You don't have to mope. You don't have to mope. You can wake up. If you don't manhandle a dog every once in a while, that's when they get barky. This way, he's always thinking. He's always like, wait a minute, am I about to get manhandled? Am I about to get rubbed? Boom. And he gets rubbed. Also, if you got something on your hand, it's handy to have a dog right here to wipe it off. Like, oh, I got something gross on something stinky on my hand. Wipe it right off on this animal right here. It's like having always having a Kleenex nearby. Like, I had to blow my nose. I had the Kleenex right there. All right, we're done. So Street Fighter's saying goodbye. Hopefully you didn't waste too much time listening to this one. It was just on in the background. Hopefully people got a lot of work done. Go back to getting some work done. I'll be getting back to trying to get this dog to edit videos. That's my goal, is to get this dog to edit videos for me so that I can just take these live things. Then the dog will edit them down into to viral videos. It's no big deal. It's pretty easy. It seems pretty simple to me. Edit this down into a bunch of viral videos. So I could probably get 12 viral videos out of this one. As soon as he's a good editor. Let's see. We will click on your website store over here. You might want to check out Alan Acre. I don't have an Alan Acre commercial. Did I have one? I don't know if I've ever had one. Barbecue had one. He never gave it to anybody. He would rip off this show and then not share his stuff that he would create. But this dude creates stuff and shares it all the time. So thanks, Voss, for this one.
Captain, a vessel approaching.
On screen.
We're being hailed.
Every weekend over at gearwebsites.com, our online store, we have free Patch Friday. And that means that every order placed on our store on Fridays is going to include at least one free patch. So that's every order with no coupons, no minimum order, no codes needed. You place the order on Friday, and when it arrives to you, it's going to have at least one free patch. Your support means a lot to us, and financial support is critical. So thanks again to the people who keep us online through purchases at gearwebsites.com.